Oh, if it's not one thing, it's another, friends. If it's not one thing, it's another. I came downstairs to get something only to find out this is how my break is starting, with a busted water heater. How on earth? Good thing we ran out of milk upstairs. I went to the basement refrigerator to grab another half-gallon of milk to make coffee, only to come and be greeted by a flooding basement. Oh my gosh, totally not on my list of things that I wanted to do over break. It would appear that the water heater has been bubbling hot water out of it, and I don't quite understand how that happened, because I think that takes some amount of pressure for that to happen. So now I have a big job in front of me, throwing out stuff that got wet, saving the things that I can, and mopping up the water, and then dealing with the water heater. That's a whole nother issue. So we'll be taking probably old-fashioned baths with boiling kettles of water because today's Saturday. I don't want to pay for an emergency call. That will be very expensive, so I'll have to wait till Monday. So on my list of things to do over break is to start organizing my basement. It's not a fun project. It's not one I'm looking forward to, but it is definitely necessary. So I guess this basement flooding just jump-started my job. Trying to think what I need at Menards, because I don't have the necessary tools anymore. I gave my fan to my son to take to college, so I'm going to need some box fans to dry this area out. I'm also going to need a shop vac because my shop vac is in the barn, and there's no way I'm bringing that in the house. It's a gross from the barn. It's been used for many yucky jobs. So let's see the damage. I can smell water. That's never a good thing. I have so much to move. At least it didn't go farther than where it went. I still don't understand why my hot water tank is leaking. You gotta love kids. I just texted my son, my youngest son, Michael, explaining to him that the water heater went out and that he's gonna have to go to his dad's house. At least he has that option to go shower. And he's like, what does that mean? The water heater's not working? No hot water? And I'm like, yeah, no hot water till Monday because I'm not paying for an emergency call. I can handle without hot water for 2 days until I can troubleshoot and figure out what I need to do. But he's like, oh, I was wondering why my shower went from warm to it cooled off pretty quickly and the water pressure dropped. And I'm like, oh, well, that would have been helpful to know last night. But he didn't think anything of it, which is not uncommon for a 15-year-old. I would have gone and checked things out otherwise and maybe avoided some of the flooding. But it is what it is, and you gotta love kids because they don't always think or know even if something is going wrong or amiss or what have you. So I'm headed to Menards because I need to get a shop vac, some fans, and some of that dry material, whatever the material that dries the air, pulls out the moisture, because it's damp down there. I'm getting rid of all the cardboard boxes that soaked up the water. And this is just the universe jump-starting me to get at it. Get on the basement, Tanya. Get on the basement and organize it, clean it, get rid of stuff you don't need anymore. And I was gonna do it anyways over break. I mean, it was on my list of things to do. But sometimes I guess we need a jump start, or we need something to nudge us, in this case, shove me along on this path. Oh boy. So let's go to Menards. Let's go to Menards and get the supplies. But before we get to Menards, I need to fuel up with some food and drink so that I have the energy to get this project done. Do you have any Buddha sandwiches left?
Yes, we do.
Can I get 2 of those, please? If you have them.
All right. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
All right, 15, have you at the window?
Okay. I have to get my youngest son from a high school that he's doing a competition in, so I decided to go to the Menards near him so that I'm not wasting a lot of time driving. And I'm gonna go to that Menards that's 5 minutes from him so that I can pick up the fan, the shop vac, and whatever else I see that I think would help with the drying process. I'm also gonna pick up a small book, like those plastic shelving units, because I want to get some of the stuff organized and off the floor. Anything that's, so this was a huge lesson for me. Anything valuable in the basement in Wisconsin needs to be elevated, so that if you ever do have a flooded basement, because it's not that unusual, it happens in our state because people have basements, sump pumps fail, and or like in this instance, your water heater leaks, which was nowhere near my sump pump. So anything that I consider valuable, I need to get it up off the floor. Now I know some states don't have basements because either it's just not part of the culture and or it's too rocky to have basements, but in Wisconsin we're big on basements. We're big on storing stuff in those basements and accumulating a lot of junk. So this gives me the opportunity to declutter my junk. So I'm gonna look at the positive of this. I got my breakfast because I haven't had time to make anything. And I got my shaken espresso so that I have some energy to get this job done. All right, I got the shop vac. I got the fan, the like industrial fan, and now go back home, suck up the water, air it out, dry it out, start organizing stuff, throwing stuff out, and the journey continues. There's a lot of people at Menards today. It must be a popular day to be, well, I guess that makes sense. People might be Christmas shopping, maybe they're working on projects they're trying to finish. Now to get my son. I almost feel like your basement flooding in the state of Wisconsin is kind of like a rite of passage. A horrible rite of passage, but at some point I feel like at everyone's basement, almost everyone's basement floods. Either a little bit or a lot. Because somehow Wisconsin, we're known, or it's not that uncommon to hear that somebody's basement flooded. So I guess this is my rite of passage as I put together my shop vac that will now be my basement water absorber vacuum. I was able to be here for 8 years before this happened, so that's a win. The fact that I had my water heater break, that it's my second water heater to go out, 2 brand new water heaters in 8 years, that's not good news. So Monoshock, they've had 3 water heaters go out. So apparently we have a very high mineral count, and it causes our water heaters to fail faster than the average water heater. So we're looking at some options to try to mitigate and try to resolve that, so we don't have to keep replacing our water heaters every 3 to 5 years, because this gets annoying and expensive and not healthy to have moisture in your basement. Right now my basement smells moist and I don't like that smell. And when you smell, if you've ever smelled wet cardboard, that smell is also lingering. So I need to get it vacuumed up and get that cardboard outside to avoid mold growth. Wet. This thing is... I'm afraid it's still leaking. This is heavy. Oh yeah, it's still leaking. You can see that this has been happening for some time, and I just wasn't aware of it. It was installed on St. Patty's Day 2020. Slowly, I'm getting things dried up, cleaned up, put back in order. I have 2 dehumidifiers going, and I'm industrial strength fan. You can see it's starting to dry up. If it's not one thing, it's another on the homestead. So thank you so much for being with me on this adventure, which I didn't like to have to go through, which I was not anticipating. But I'm grateful that you're here, and we'll see you next time for the next adventure. Bye-bye. Be well.